if you don't want to be called Nazis, stop doing.
You're called an anti-Semite. You've been called an anti-Semite more than anyone else's table.
Yeah.
And people will sit there and by me. I never called you an anti-Semite. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians. I'm used to it.
Yeah, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. The thing is that
you just say I should die.
You should not.
No,
Did you just say I should be killed?
No, I did not say that.
Yeah, that's not what you want at the CNN panel. I mean, it's kind of what you want on a CNN panel where you just bring a whole bunch of people that you expect to bicker with each other, but you probably want it to end before making a joke about a prominent journalist being murdered on live TV. You probably want it to be a step before that point, but unfortunately that's where it went. And what do you know? All it took to get there is a MAGA guy, Ryan Girdusky, who went on to say that he thought that Mehdi Hasan had said that he was a supporter of Hamas, not Palestinians, which is not at all anywhere close to what he said. I don't believe that that's what Ryan Girdusky thought he said. And to be clear, if somehow Mehdi Hasan had said on a panel, I support Hamas, you still can't joke about him being murdered, right? I think even in 2024, you shouldn't generally joke about people dying on panels you're on. But anyway, the panel went to commercial break shortly thereafter. And when it came back, the host of the panel, Abby Phillips, had a bit of an explanation about what had happened.
I'm sure everyone has seen what happened on the show tonight. I just wanted to address one quick thing. As you may have seen, Ryan was asked to leave the show, and we've put out a statement saying that he's not welcome back on our air. There is a line here on this program, and it was crossed. But I want to be clear as well that we did not ask Mehdi to not come back. In fact, we really wanted him to come back and finish the show. We had a lot to talk to him about. And we really hope that he'll join us again soon. But for those of you who are wondering why he did not come back, I just want to be super clear that that was not in any way because we didn't want him back.
And that's probably a good clarification. Now we're gonna get to what Ryan has said in the wake of this. I just want to point out, so you're making a joke about somebody dying. Hamas wasn't even the organization that was targeted in the beeper thing. And as everyone should remember, and maybe, I don't know for sure if this is why Mehdi Hasan didn't want to come back, civilians were wounded in that attack as well. Civilians died. To make a joke about it is so strange. And David, I want to go to you. I just want to mention, I saw a tweet from a different Hasan. This is Hasan Piker, who said, this is what happens when you start to mix up Twitter and real life.
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
People throw around just flippant comments and jokes. Everything is normalized on social media. But you're sitting at a table with a person and you think it's appropriate to make a joke like that. I don't understand it, but what do you think?
Well, I think you raise an important point, and that is I think MAGA world, with the help of social media, now dumbs down everything so that Hezbollah, Hamas, Palestinians, they're all the same thing to a lot of people out there, which is a big mistake. But the second part about this is I think while Abby Phillips handled this pretty well in terms of her sort of apology and explaining what happened, I blame CNN for this because CNN has turned this show into a food fight. They originally used to have her doing serious interviews with experts and newsmakers, and they threw that out and they decided, just for the sake of ratings, let's have 5 or 6 people just scream at each other, where the loudest person, the most outrageous insult will get the clicks. They've gotten a little bit of an audience bump, which goes to show that cable news loves conflict, and cable news viewers will reward you for it. But they're not doing anything to enlighten America, to educate us about the issues, to inform us. They're simply putting on a food fight each night. And for that, I think CNN should be ashamed of themselves.
I think that's a great point. And obviously you have more experience with organizations like this. This is the sort of thing you see. They want to dumb it down and then, oops, it's dumb. Well, yeah, that's what you were doing. And unfortunately, as you point out, it does lead to higher ratings. And so that's terrible. We need to sort of reckon with that as a society. But anyway, we gave you the update from Abby Phillips. Here's what Ryan Girdusky said on Twitter. After, by the way, doing his fake apology where he pretended to think that Hasan had said that he supports Hamas or something. He says, you can stay on CNN if you falsely call every Republican a Nazi and have taken money from Qatar-funded media. Apparently, you can't go on CNN if you make a joke. I'm glad America gets to see what CNN stands for. Again, Mehdi Hasan is not calling every Republican a Nazi. And look, even if he was, that's not as bad as joking about somebody being assassinated live on TV, I think. And so, like, as you pointed out, like, they sort of did this to themselves. And one of the ways that they did this themselves is, it's not like they couldn't have known what this guy was gonna be like. He didn't just suddenly like get birthed from a pod yesterday. He's been out there doing media. There's been sort of a trend of the things he says. We're gonna go to a little bit of him on the Gavin McInnes show. Remember, Gavin McInnes is the guy who started the Proud Boys. And here is what Ryan Girdusky had to say back in 2016.
I'm not going to defend the merits of racism, but the problem is that you have too many people in the media who like, they love to make the point that I'm a good white person. I don't believe in what these people believe in. And Lindsey Graham on Comedy Central proved when he sat there and he said he was bashing Trump, and Trevor Noah goes, so why does your party attract racists for? Like, that was the moment that I sat there and said, this is great, because no matter how much you suck up to these people, no matter how much you give, no matter how much you beg and plead and say, I'm sorry for everything that white culture has ever provided us, they will always hate you. You will always be Hitler to these people.
Okay, so to those people, you beg and oh, please accept me as a white person. They're still gonna hate me. That's just an explicitly racist worldview. That is who that guy is. That was 8 years ago. That's who he is. And if I can make this personal for just a second, I just love the reminders constantly that sort of guy, who the only reason anyone knows who he is because of his like militia affiliated racial grievance sort of nonsense, gets brought onto panels in CNN. I am a fringe lunatic because I supported Bernie Sanders and I think Medicare for all is good and we should have a Green New Deal, and have never been brought onto a panel like that. But if you're a MAGA guy, there's no bar. There's no standard. And I understand it's a tough spot that I guess Abby Phillip's Booker has put in because they want to have balance, but virtually every one of their media people in the MAGA movement has said things like that or worse. So I understand they're in a difficult spot, but it is amazing the different bar that we have. It's sort of like the different bar for Trump and Harris, where Trump, as long as he doesn't literally call for genocide on a daily basis, people pretend he's presidential, but Harris needs to be perfect to be accepted. So that's a little bit frustrating. But David, any final thoughts about this?
Well, I think also, CNN could have done an even better job in terms of how they responded. If they had said to Ryan, look, how come you didn't know the difference between Hamas and Hezbollah? What does that say about your level of education about this conflict? And oh, by the way, Mehdi, do you take money from Qatar? And why do you? I mean, there's ways to take the passions that people feel about each other, and as the host, try to probe that and enlighten people about the points of view and where they're coming from. But to just say, okay, here's a pie to you and here's a pie to you, and go ahead and throw it at each other. And CNN will sit back and just sort of watch and see if our audience is entertained. That does nothing for any of us. And so if you're going to put these guests on, the anchor, I think, has a responsibility to really push back at each of them and probe, okay, why are your views this way?
Yeah.
Why are your views extreme? What about the criticism that has been leveled out there against you, as opposed to just saying, oh, we're sorry he crossed the line. Well, yeah, we're sorry that you put on the show.
Yeah, I do wonder though. I don't know Abby Phillips. I've literally never talked to her. We had to wait in a line for a flight after the CrowdStrike thing. That's about it. I wonder, does she want a guy like that on her panel? Like, because I remember back in like 2016, every CNN panel had to have Jeffrey Lord or Scotty Nell Hughes or Kayleigh McEnany. And like, maybe the hosts want that, or maybe the top brass is like, you gotta have MAGA people on for balance. I don't know. I don't know Abby Phillips, but I wonder. In any event, oh, sorry, you thought about that?
No, I was gonna say, I think there are actually, if bookers are willing to look hard enough, I think there are some thoughtful MAGA people out there who are, that they have their own sort of line, that they will be sort of respectful and they say, look, this is why I believe what I believe. And this is the threat that I see to America. And they're thoughtful about it. But if you're just going for the lowest hanging fruit of people who scream and yell and will deliver a singeing one-line burner to try to grab attention, you're not doing anybody any favors. And you're actually not doing any favors to the MAGA movement or to people on the left if you only go with people who are going to throw bombs as well.
Well, look, you've talked to a lot of more MAGA people than me. I will fully grant that I think there are regular MAGA people that are far more reasonable. I just wonder, in the MAGA media environment, how do you gain an audience and notoriety and like that sort of thing without being this guy, without saying things like him or Marjorie Greene? Like, I don't know that there's enough appetite for reason.
And you're right, there is an incentive to be the most outrageous MAGA person out there.
When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?